Hey everyone, this is Wei and welcome back. Now for this portrait drawing, I'm going to be using the Strathmore grayscale papers. And what they are, they're just really a series of different tone papers so that you can start your drawing with any kind of tone that you want. Now for my portrait drawing, I'm going to be using this middle gray. So to draw on this, it's basically the same thing. I'll be using the regular graphite pencils. And then I also have charcoal white, so that I can drawing some of the lighter colors. So what this does is working with these kind of gray tone, you can get like a much wider range of value very quickly, and it would actually give your drawing a lot of depth. So let's get started, and I'll talk about the process along the way. All right, so I'm just gonna talk over the speed drawing here because I am kind of new to this. It actually took me quite a while to draw this. So to begin with, I just have a light outline, and then I started shading with the 6B pencil, which started out pretty well. It was actually kind of easy, just to get a slightly darker tone, and immediately I can see that maybe the texture of the paper was a little bit too heavy, and you can see it here too. There's just a lot of texture, so there's a lot of gaps, as I'm shading this. But even here, I mean, everything still looks good, right? Because it's just slightly darker than the gray tone paper. But as I try to make things a little bit darker and add in a little bit like line detail, I found it to actually be really difficult, and that's kind of when the problems start to arise. So here I'm still using the 6B, and I'm trying to hit those areas, highlights. The darker areas with this, and it's just not coming through. And you can see that I'll switch to like a slightly harder pencil to sketching some of the details. Now here I'm using the whites, and this is where the fun really begins, right? Because now you're able to lift those highlights out and really start shading, start springing out the form. And initially it started out okay, and you can see it's a little bit off, and then I tried to like keep going over it, but it's just I couldn't hit it. It was just kind of weird, just like way too much texture. I couldn't do a lot of details I wanted. And then here is when I ran into a lot of problems with drawing the hair, because there was just not enough detail on the paper to do it. So I kind of struggled with that, but I just kind of kept on going and worked through it, and I definitely learned a lot. And toward the end of this, I'm going to show you some of the tips, some of the mistakes that I made. Hopefully you can avoid them if you're gonna try working on tone paper. So here I'm using my 4B, and it's much sharper, and I'm going in and really trying to hit those details and make certain, make some of the areas actually really dark and refined it. And it does help, but I think the heavy texture paper really kind of made it a lot more difficult than it should be. But it is cool, to be able to work from this middle gray, especially with the white. And here, just more and more detail. And so basically, after a lot more shading with the whites, this is what I got, and it actually looks okay. But you can see that you can see that I really struggle with this, right? It's kind of messy, and it's just I'm hitting the areas over and over again, and the paper gets all messed up. But I mean, overall, I think it's a really good start, and it's definitely something I'm gonna do more. So now let me talk about some of the errors that I made, and hopefully I can help you avoid it if you're gonna do this. Okay, so having drawn this, there's three things that really pop out. One is that I'm using too heavy of a texture. This is like heavy texture paper, so it's really difficult to get like little details here and there, just because there's so much groove to these. And the second thing is, well, it's kind of obvious. It's knowing what the grayscale is. It's like if I'm doing, let's say I'm shading like a real cylinder, you have the paper is white, so you kind of go from dark to light, and you kind of control that with your hand, and then you get it shaded like that, right? It's relatively straightforward. You're just going from light to dark. Well, with these tone papers, obviously, you know, you want a cylinder, same thing. See my screen, okay. You know, you go from the dark, and then you kind of have to stop where the gray is, middle gray is, where this paper is, and know where the white's leading to. So then I gotta switch to the white, and I want to do, let's say I'll do the white here, and then you kind of have to feather it out to meet the gray of the paper. And it's actually harder than it seems. You might think that, oh yeah, you know, it's kind of simple to just stop there. But you do have, when I was drawing this, I did have a tendency to keep going and try to, like, you know, mix the two. And that's the third thing that you don't want to do is, I realize you don't ever want to mix the black here, right, with the white. Like if I'm doing white here, you know, I need to stop there. You want to stop before you hit any of the pencil marks, because once you go over it, it turns into, it's like smearing almost. And the worst part is it gets the lead onto the white area, and then you gotta rub it off before you can use the white again. So you never want to mix the black and the white. So it's a little bit tricky. So I think besides those three things, it's actually, I mean, it's a really cool tool, you know, just drawing on these kind of gray tone paper. And it really brings out another dimension, you know, to your drawing. It really gives it a lot of depth. So, you know, just, I'll probably do more of this, obviously, and hopefully I can show you better ways of working with these material. But for now, that's it, and hope you enjoy this, and I will see you next time.